What would happen if two of Nintendo's characters whose games saved their respective franchises went toe-to-toe in a battle to determine who would come out on top? I'm Ink, and this is Smash Bracket, a show dedicated to solving that exact question. If each playable character from the Super Smash Bros. Series was entered into a giant fighting tournament using them at the peak of their strength, who would be victorious? The rules for the series are on screen now, with a link in the description for a further breakdown. With all that in place, let's take a look at today's matchup between Lucina and R.O.B to determine who will advance on to the next round and who will be disqualified. Let's get into it.
Lucina.
After the introduction of Marth and Roy to Super Smash Bros. Melee, international interest into the Fire Emblem franchise was piqued. But these extra eyes on the franchise weren't quite enough to totally greenlight the future of the franchise. Sales of the series had been declining ever since the first Fire Emblem game, and a few of them never even made it to Western audiences. So Nintendo decided to make the difficult decision to kill off the franchise and have one final game before closing the doors forever. The team behind Fire Emblem decided that if this was their last run, they wanted to put everything that they possibly could into the game and truly make it their passion project and their magnum opus. The result was Fire Emblem Awakening, a game that blew audience expectations out of the water and had strong enough sales to give Nintendo confidence to greenlight a future for the series. One of the leading faces of Fire Emblem Awakening is Lucina, a warrior princess from the future who traveled backward in time in order to save her country, protect her family, and vanquish any bugs who cross her path, both figuratively taking down some slimy people and also literally promising to vanquish any bugs she sees because she is freaked out by them. At one point, Lucina adopted the identity of Marth as an alias to help protect her identity and raise army morale. This adoption of his identity wasn't in name only. She has always looked up to and admired the great hero King Marth, and she's dedicated herself to following in his footsteps. After assisting Chrom and Robin in a fierce war, she was finally able to achieve her goal and rescue her people from peril. When it comes to weaponry though, Lucina comes equipped with her signature blade, the Parallel Falchion. This sword once belonged to Marth and has been passed down and reforged over generations. It was crafted by the divine dragon Naga from one of her fangs, which is appropriate because this thing definitely bites a lot louder than it barks, and that's saying something. The blade deals extra damage to dragons and can be used to heal its wielder. It also took the Thor's hammer route and is unable to be wielded by somebody unworthy or not of royal blood. If an unqualified person attempts to use it, it instantly becomes inert and unable to cut anything. Although if my experience with Nerf swords as a kid taught me anything, being hit by a non-sharp sword can still really hurt and cause a rift between you and your friends for always going for headshots even though the rules was body only, and then you have a huge fight and get sent home early to tell your mom what happened and end up having random bruises all over Bradley. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, Lucina. Despite the sword being exceptionally powerful, Lucina has never been able to truly awaken its full power, so parts of its potential remain a mystery to her. But apart from her falchion, Lucina also has a variety of weapons to pull from. Her Levin sword can summon electricity and has the hidden benefit of looking dang cool. The Killing Edge makes it easier to land lethal hits on an enemy, while the Brave sword allows her to swing twice as fast to double her damage output. Similarly, Lucina can wield a wide variety of spears, bows, lances, and has a small buckler shield shaped like her old butterfly mask that she uses to augment her defense. She also houses the ability to use many magical tomes with powerful magical effects, such as summoning huge explosions of fire with Valve Flame, calling down lightning from the sky with Mjolnir, I told you she was like Thor, generating tornadoes with Excalibur, shooting balls of powerful light magic with the Book of Naga, or even healing herself by using the vampiric attack Nosferatu. If that wasn't enough, Lucina also has several animals that she can mount for battle, such as her armored horse, armored Pegasus, griffin, or even an armored wyvern to maximize coolness. Lucina also has a variety of battle skills that she's learned over the years. It's important to note that these skills and abilities are largely dependent on who you select to be her mother. And while Sumia is heavily implied to be Lucina's canonical mother due to the opening cutscene, the choice is relatively fluid, and to me it reveals that Lucina has the potential to learn a ton of different skills given the right training. Given this potential, Lucina has access to a pool of 74 potential battle skills. However, despite this variety, only a few of them are relevant to versus battles, and Lucina can only have access to 5 skills at any given time. The one she'll be using for this battle goes as follows. Aegis halves any damage that she receives from range attacks, such as magic, dragon's breath, or arrows. Paviz, on the other hand, halves any physical damage that she receives from melee weapons. Lethality gives her a small chance to instantly kill her foe, and Renuo auto-heals for 30% of her maximum health every single time she starts a turn, which in Fire Emblem is a single attack. These abilities are backed up by significant physical prowess as well. She's strong enough to leap up dozens of feet into the air and damage powerful enemies, fast enough to react to an ambush from skilled assassins, and seemingly disappear from enemy sight. She's also durable enough to tank an explosion that was strong enough to wipe out everyone else in this castle and destroy an entire part of it. One thing is clear above all though, Lucina will stop at nothing to vanquish evil and protect the people that she loves. Now let's take a look at her opponent, R.O.B.
R.O.B.
The year was 1985, and the video game market had been in a devastating market crash for 2 years. The industry value in the United States had plummeted from $3.2 billion in 1983 to only $100 million, a 97% decrease. However, everything started to change when Nintendo entered the scene. Video games had become somewhat of a four-letter word in public perception, with the market oversaturation with games like E.T. or a literal Quaker Oats video game. But Nintendo's strategy was simple. If people don't want to buy video games, don't sell them as video games. They decided to sell their games while pretending that they weren't exactly what they were. One of the ways that they did this is to rebrand their video games as accessories to highly advanced toys, rather than video games themselves, since manufacturers and investors wanted nothing to do with it. As a part of this effort, Nintendo released several innovations to help dismantle the stigma around gaming, such as the NES Zapper, or more relevant to this video, the robotic operating buddy, R.O.B. R.O.B was an accessory to the NES and interacted with the games Gyromite and Stack Up. The success that came from this little robot gave him enough notoriety and importance to non-canonically cameo in several Nintendo video games, such as F-Zero, WarioWare, Mario Kart, or Super Smash Bros., where he played a major role in the plot of the Subspace Emissary and Brawl. Now, unfortunately, with the rules of Smash Bracket, we can only take canonical video game appearances, and crossover games are almost always disqualified. So we're not actually able to use any of R.O.B.'s video game appearances. That's alright though, because R.O.B. has some feats of his own right. He stands at nearly 1 foot tall, or 24 centimeters, making him even taller than some serious powerhouses like Kirby. He's flexible enough to rotate his head horizontally 95 degrees, and his arms can rotate 240 degrees, and they're powerful enough to lift up and knock over 5 half-inch thick blocks. On his vehicle, the Earth, R.O.B. is technically moving at a constant speed of 67,000 miles per hour. Although I suppose anyone else fighting him on Earth would be also moving at that speed, but oh well. He can also use his claw-like hands to spin a gyro fast enough to, quote, cause physical injury. He comes equipped with a photo-sensing video game control system that makes him perceptive enough to see the screen of a CRT television from 4 inches away. Despite this powerful perception though, his vision can be disabled from hot or cold temperatures, briefly looking at the sun, dirt, fluorescent lights, leaving his power switch on for too long, cleaning products, or being moved anywhere besides directly in front of a CRT television. However, despite only having a visual range of 4 inches, conditionally, he does technically exist beyond the 4th wall and would be considered an outer dimensional being by many Smash characters, coming from the same dimension as some of the most horrifying things ever conceptualized, like nuclear bombs, plagues, natural disasters, and Florida. R.O.B. would be nothing without his power source though. He can harness the raw power of 4 AA batteries, and is even able to use a D battery if he needs to use his gyro spinner. He's also held together by several Phillips head screws and is durable enough to be gently handled by children and still not break. Come what may though, R.O.B.'s unfortunate opponents are guaranteed to realize one thing very quickly. R.O.B. is certainly a thing that exists, and he's technically an other-dimensional robot fueled by what many of his enemies would consider futuristic technology. With all that said and done though, let's get into the fight and see who will be disqualified and who will advance on to the next round of the Smash Bracket.
Come at me!
2, 1, go!
You'll never defeat me!
Game!
And there you go. Honestly, I'm not sure what you expected to happen. One of these characters is a fearsome, elite warrior from the future with powerful swords, weaponry, and magic. And the other one is a literal children's toy. Despite R.O.B.'s ability to conditionally cause physical injury from his gyro spinner, and the likelihood of his screws being a choking hazard to children under the age of 2, he just wasn't equipped to stand up to the likes of Lucina. I could go into different calculations here of their physical and durability differences, but you get the point. Lucina is the winner and will be advancing on to the next round of the Smash Bracket. Next time on the Smash Bracket.